And you lost Melanie again.
Oh, join when you can. Hey, by the way, we're streaming.
Hey,
That's
we
just-
are in. That's just the magic of the Grawlix right there. It's like we go in, Melanie drops out, the internet loves us.
That's very suspect that it booted
And on
Melanie
brand.
as right. I don't know what's happening out there. She doesn't talk to me when she's out there.
It's like another world within the apartment. It's
If
like
you
an
ha-
apartment within the apartment.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is when it all went sideways.
It's like as soon as we hit stream.
Yeah. We flipped the sign from closed to open, and it was havoc from then on.
Hey, Melanie, can you hear us? She's gone. Melanie's having a bit of trouble. I even woke her up from a nap for all this.
Oh no!
Right.
That's not good.
I don't know what. Hold on. This is not an exciting way to start a stream, but such is life. I wonder if there's settings I can change back here. Come on, let me change some settings.
Welcome back, Melanie.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, do you know the password for Lockbox? Maybe I'll try to connect to that instead.
I don't know how to change it, and she's gone.
What? I'm gone?
You're right there. I hear her.
You do?
I hear you. Yeah.
What a mess. I don't hear her. I don't see her anywhere in here. I'm going to leave and come back.
She's right there.
Oh no. She's gone now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Grawlix Nights. Every night is Grawlix Night.
The show really fell off.
We are in the aftermath of the show now. Like the show, you know.
I bet she's back for you now, huh?
Not yet. No.
What?
I'll be back. You keep it going. Wait, I don't want to hang up the call.
What could go wrong? Yeah, if you hang up, does this disconnect?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Probably not.
Isn't it OBS? Isn't it on your end sending it out?
Well, no, I'm not going to hang up that
video?
part. I should hang up that part, to be honest. This doesn't need to be streamed. I'll be back. All
right. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Jesse portion of the Grawlix Nights podcast show. I'm your lonely host tonight, I guess. How's life been? How's everybody doing? You know, it's where we are, it's cold, unseasonably cold. And I know that a lot of y'all are feeling the cold too, because you know, there's something like a polar vortex or something going on, and it's just swooping on through, making everybody cold, because that's what polar vortexes do.
Hello?
Hi.
I was just talking about the weather.
I'm back.
Okay. Hey, Melanie, can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Who is this stream for?
To no one. Not humans.
No. Speaking of which, I got a dog in my office. Now
okay.
I got to drop out.
Like this?
Yeah, sure.
Did that do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you keep talking at me.
Hey, Randy. Okay. You're my boyfriend.
I am. You're a little low, but that's okay. Maybe I can. You know what? No, I cannot.
Don't know what to do and not air horn him. Did we lose Jesse too?
No, he's dealing with dog things.
Oh.
Okay. Maybe this will work now. We'll see.
What was wrong with it?
I don't know. You kept dropping out. And then you joined in, but I couldn't see you.
Well, nobody can see me.
Can you try turning up, because I know Jesse's audio is quite a bit louder. Can you turn your volume knob up more?
Like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds louder.
All right.
See, I can't hear her or see her at all.
Oh my god. Wow. Oh. Did you hear the alarm?
Yep.
That's what happens. Sirens.
We've really done it. That's when you know that the stream has really gone off
Can
the
you imagine if
rails,
there were
when
snow
they start
tornadoes?
just
How horrible that would
calling
be.
in the Coast Guard.
What if I... Okay.
We're landlocked, and they called in the Coast Guard.
Wait, what is... I don't know what any of this does. Why does this room suck? Why is this not working right?
Why is it the room's fault?
Because apparently Jesse cannot see or hear you now.
I don't see where I am either.
Well, I see and hear you both.
Oh.
And earlier, I could see and hear Melanie, and you couldn't.
Trigger an ice restart. I don't know about I want. I don't think I want anything to do with that. What's an
This
ice
is the VDO
restart?
Ninja. This is where, like, we can't see or hear the ninja.
Oh.
This is the ninja in that.
Wait, here we go. I'm gonna trigger an ice restart. Trigger an ice restart. I'm just gonna hit all the ice restarts.
Oh, what happens now?
I don't know. And that one.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, not Jack and Smack.
Nothing happened.
Okay, well. You guys are not in the same room. Like, I don't know how to proceed. I don't know what to do.
Well, I'll jump out, and then you can add me back in.
Should I?
Yeah, just
Should I leave?
No. One of you. Yeah, Jesse, just refresh the page.
Yeah, I'll
refresh.
I'll do it. Yeah, here we go.
It's tricky because, like, I don't know how to fix it, and if I don't know how to fix it, it's not getting fixed. Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is the worst stream, I think, ever.
I don't see him or hear him. Is he back?
No, he's not back yet. He's joining now.
I'm back.
I see him.
And I see Melanie. We're all together again.
Meanwhile, the viewer, if anybody's actually watching right now, is like, I don't see Melanie.
Oh man, if that's the way it is.
But
we'd like to introduce our new podcast called Technical Difficulties, the podcast. There she goes. Is she still there for you? She's gone.
She's gone.
I
don't think it's gonna work tonight, guys.
Yeah, maybe not.
Helix Rock Radio is really missing out. We couldn't get the stream to work over there either. So
no.
Feel free to refresh and try to join in if you want, Melanie. Okay. I don't understand what the problem is. My signal's good. She's on Wi-Fi connection in the other room, but I haven't really watched anything other than like some shows. So I don't have a ton of we started watching. I'm just jumping right into it. Let's get it through as much as we can, unless she's gone again.
Yeah.
That's not an unknown user. That's a user that's known and respected.
Known and respected. That's right.
She should be coming back here in a second. Wait, reconnect mic. And it's gone. Okay, never mind.
Where are we streaming? Are we streaming on YouTube? Is this YouTube magic?
This is YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. You're so lucky.
This is YouTube. Yeah. So lucky. Yeah, I don't really know what to do. I think maybe we say a few words and end the show. This will be the shortest
yeah.
show.
Hey, when the internet tells you no over and over and
Right.
over,
Right.
maybe it's time that we listen.
Because it's obviously it's probably is an internet connection, but also like it's either the signal seems fine here. Okay,
She's
well,
saying to go on without her.
yeah, she did. I'm sure she's heartbroken about it too.
You know.
Okay, well, I'll say this much real quick. Maybe we'll have a short conversation.
Sure.
Other than anime, been watching lots of anime this past week. Discovered the show Solo Leveling, and it's pretty fantastic, kind of dark,
Okay.
and fun. But we started watching finally the newest season of Invincible. Have you been watching that?
Oh, I haven't. No.
We're only like two episodes into the season, so we're not too far into it yet. But it's Invincible. We'll have to. If I'm assuming, did you watch last season?
No, I'm behind. I've only watched I think
Oh.
the first season, or maybe there
Oh,
was 2 seasons. No, I think it was just one.
okay. Oh, okay. I thought that was one we were all up on, more or less.
Because Robot Man, that was all season 1, right?
I can't remember. I have no idea.
Right.
Zelda.
Yeah, that was Zelda. I forgot to turn off my my
Okay.
phone. Man, I don't even usually have my phone on, but
Okay. Well, you got anything interesting going on this week? I ain't got jack.
all I did this like no. Even though I've been home, I really haven't watched anything, like
Right.
what I've watched is like Letterkenny and Shoresy. So like I don't know. Have you watched any of those before? I mean, like they're like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia level kind of humor. It's like a sitcom kind of deal, but
Okay.
it deals in that kind of like awful humor kind of deal.
Sure.
And it's all set in Canada.
Okay.
And it's just tons of puns and stuff. So it's right up my alley and super quirky and weird.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Letterkenny a little bit, but Holly hates it. It's in that vein of like The Office, where there's like so much just like them being awkward that
Right.
it just like makes her grind her teeth kind of stuff. Like, no, like she didn't even watch a whole episode. She came home one night. I was watching it because it was recommended to me. This is years ago when it first started, and she's like, "Turn this off." And I couldn't even quote her right now because this is the Grawlix podcast. like I would have had to Grawlix her actual words, because she was like, no, she didn't even need a whole episode to be like, no, turn this nonsense off.
I've never even. I just looked it up. I've never even heard of it.
It's super Canadian. It's super quirky and weird.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. It's fun. It's dumb. It's quick. It's one of those like 20 to 30 minute, 20 minutes without commercials, 30 with commercials kind
Sure.
of thing. So it's quick and easy to digest. And so that's been kind of my jam lately, is just like quick and easy viewing.
Right.
I watched a little bit more of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but I haven't watched the finale yet. Like they just popped up the 2-episode finale, and I haven't seen that yet. But I'm really enjoying the first season. I hope it gets renewed. I hope they keep going with it, because it's Spider-Man, but it's also like weird and different. I suppose it's kind of like, some people really like Spider-Man or like Unlimited or whatever. I never really got into that. It wasn't really my jam, but some people really liked it, and it was a little different, right? So I feel that way about this. It's like kind of set in the MCU, but an alternate universe,
Right.
kind of
Right.
version, or an alternate version of him. Like
Sure.
they have the events of like Civil War going on, and they even show scenes from like that famous airport fight in Civil War, but Spider-Man's not there. He's just watching it on TV like everybody else. But the Sokovia Accords are happening just like in that movie. So
Hmm.
it's cool and weird. So
Cool.
he has different friends, like he has Harry Osborn is one of his friends. Nico, who is she's one of the Runaways
Okay.
from that comic book. She's one of his friends. There's no Ned Leeds. So yeah.
There was a Runaway show, I think. Or no, it might
Yeah.
be, yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
I think
show.
so.
It
Who
wasn't,
was it? Was it Hulu or
yeah, I can't
Fox or
remember.
something? I
Or
don't
maybe
know.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking Cloak and Dagger. That was another one.
Well, I think there was both. I'm pretty sure there was
Right,
a Runaways show. I just never watched it.
right.
I don't think it lasted long either,
No, I
because
don't
it
think
was
so.
kind of an obscure title. Like
Right,
people who like comic books liked that book, but I don't know that it would translate as well to a general audience.
right. Uh, really, the thing top of mind to me is all these GD articles, all these gosh darn articles.
About
Doom.
Doctor Who?
Yes, you knew exactly
Yeah.
what I was talking
I
about.
saw one of them today.
These
I saw one of them
doom
today.
and gloom Doctor Who articles, and
Yeah.
the worst of them are from like the most suspect of outlets, like the Sun and stuff like that.
Right.
But so obviously, and this isn't a new one, like Doctor Who's future uncertain, and it is, but the reality of it is the BBC's like, we're not backing away. We're not we're not handing whatever it is. But basically, it sounds like Disney's going to wait on to see how season 2 does,
Oh, yeah.
before deciding if they're going to continue whatever partnership. So yeah,
Sure.
that is a little bit scary, but like, it's not like canceled. The more recent one though is that Shuti Gatwa is leaving, he's stepping down, and I cannot find the source of that at all. Like,
Right.
I
I think
don't.
it's all just rumor, but it's rumored
Right.
that he's actually filmed his regeneration scene.
Okay.
And I read a really decent editorial, but that's all it is. It was an editorial, and it was
Right.
like how like why was Chudy doomed to fail in the first place, and that was that like usually when you have the Doctor role, you don't. It's not when your star is ascending; it's when you're established, and it's a role that you choose because you want it, kind of thing. Whereas the situation he's in is he's having to pass over all these things while he's already a rising star. So like he's wanting to move to Hollywood and da 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 da. And I do and I don't put stock in that. Like, sure, I can see that, but also Matt Smith.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's true. A lot of them were established, and looking at the modern series anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like, not necessarily established outside of.
No, David Tennant wasn't a huge deal until he was the Doctor. I mean, like he was a great actor.
Right.
He was doing lots of cool things, but he was not the megastar he is now.
Right. Exactly. And kind of even Capaldi, even though he's like seemed kind of later in his career, but like he wasn't super well known outside of certain things. I hadn't heard of him until he got cast. And now he's PCAP, and he's criminally underused in DC movies. And
Right, yeah.
it could be the same said for listen, Doctor Who really as a role is just a stepping stone to a minor bit part in MCU movie.
Right.
Or even Tenet took that. And made it
Yeah.
like extraordinary because
Sure.
his, what was it, Purple Man
The
guy,
Purple Man, yeah,
was great.
Killgrave or whatever.
But Eccleston, he was the villain in the second
Dark.
Thor movie.
Oh god, yeah.
And like unrecognizable, and it's just like that whole movie was so forgettable. Unfortunate for him. I don't think
it's not the part for him either.
No.
Like whoever wrote that treatment for that character didn't understand that character at all. Like
Right.
that honestly, again, not I love Eccleston, but that would have been a much better role for Tennant.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Malkith is like kind of madcap and all over the place. Like, yeah, Tennant would have killed it. Even Matt Smith would have killed it, but not Eccleston. That's not the kind of humor he brought even to the Doctor.
The problem with, not to say the problem, but just like thinking over that logic in terms of Gatwa, I can kind of see it. He's a younger dude for once, although Matt Smith was too, but he's a younger dude for one. He wasn't super well known like he was in. I think with streaming some shows, it might be easier to break out of the pond, the little pond that is like
The Amy Pond, yeah.
the Amy Pond. You break out of the Amy Pond.
The Rory Pond, whatever. The
But
Rory Pond.
but I think the wiser thing would be to ride that out for a little bit and then hop off, like, because he wouldn't be as famous as he is. He wouldn't be as much of a rising star if he wasn't the Doctor right now.
Right. I mean, like, yes, okay, he's seeing a little bit of success with sex education or whatever, but they were also saying, like, the BBC was hoping, or whoever was in charge was hoping, that maybe he would pull in some of his audience to Doctor Who, and that just doesn't translate. And like, if that's what their thinking was, they're right. Like, that's not how this works.
Right.
You're either excited about the Doctor because you understand what the Doctor is, or you're not. We might get a little bit of that if they're already, like, kind of interested in sci-fi shows, but otherwise, no, people aren't just going to show up for the Doctor because it's a new guy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you could put anybody in that role. Like, you cast Christopher Walken in the role, which would be really weird. But like, are you just gonna get a bunch of Christopher Walken fans just because? Yeah, well, maybe for a second, just to see the train wreck, it would be.
Right.
But then they are gonna drop off because they don't care about the show. They don't care about 60 plus years of history of the sci-fi staple.
And then looking at it from jumping back to the show itself, looking at it from the perspective of, like, is it doing the numbers Disney wanted? And I don't know. I don't know what the path to doing whatever numbers Disney wanted would be, because I feel like they tried hard to really tie into the TikTok generation, really, with all the musical numbers, and like they definitely were trying to pull in a younger audience.
When that ultimately is probably what's alienating the current base. It's like,
right.
alienate your base,
problem.
and then they're going to disappear, and then your numbers are going to plummet.
Right. And like, I don't know what RTD's on about. I just don't know. He's all over the place. There was some excellent stuff this last season, but there was also like just some stuff that's just baffling.
Oh yeah,
just baffling.
I'll say it again. That was the Beatles episode.
Right. You know
that's what you're gonna do with the Beatles.
Yeah. Weird choices that maybe sounded really good on paper, and then in execution didn't really pan out that well.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I will be upset if the Disney deal ends up somehow ruining the show or getting it thrown back into Wild Years Part 2 for some reason. But
I think I think that's clutching at pearls a little bit. Like, I don't see it going that far, because I think it's shown that it is a viable IP. It's not, it's not like back in the day, like they can do something with Doctor Who that's lucrative. Just have to figure out how. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe too much money was injected. Maybe like
Yeah.
Sometimes limitations aren't necessarily a bad thing, although, I don't want it to be
Right.
like no budget productions, but who
But
knows?
it took off with very
It's
minimal
true.
budget considering, we're talking Sci-Fi Channel level production
That's
value
true.
in the beginning.
The Eccleston season has some rough edges
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
general.
And even early Tenet stuff
Oh
is
yeah.
not like super polished.
To be honest, Chibnall's all the way up to Chibnall's era. RTD's second era has some rough edges. There's rough edges, okay? They go a little wild, but
Mhm.
yeah. You make it work, whatever. I guess kind of embrace it.
But also, like you say, some of the best episodes, like we just redid, like we just did a rewatch of all the Catherine Tate stuff. And one of the best episodes was that one where they're just stuck on a tram,
It's so good.
and you don't even see outside of it. It's all siloed, it's all
Mhm.
stuck indoors.
Yeah, minimal effects, one set for the most part. Uh yeah. There's a bottle episode, and it's great.
Clever rhetoric, like
Right.
making them repeat each other and speak simultaneously and like slowly have the speeches get closer together until they crisscross. Like,
Yeah. That's a
man,
cool
that was
idea.
clever. And almost no budget for that, probably.
I love a bottle episode, and I kind of wish that stick them in a TARDIS. They're stuck in the
Mhm.
console room of the TARDIS. They don't even have to
Yeah.
wander around hallways, and then force a writer to think of something clever to put
Yeah.
to write, whatever. Stuff like that. It's where a good bottle episode puts focus on the writing and the performances. Uh, and some clever concepts, clever ideas, but it doesn't always have to be about spectacle. And I kind of feel like this last season, really RTD's return, and I get why he's doing it, but like was a lot of spectacle.
Did we ever get a 12th Doctor lost in the TARDIS episode? We never did we? He would have killed that. I think about like the Fourth Doctor and the Cloisters. You remember that
Right,
episode? It was
right,
like,
yeah,
oh no, it's the Cloisters, and then the
right,
Cloisters became a thing from then on, kind of thing.
yep,
Um,
yep,
and then he even traveled to the room where the cloister bells are, and it was like, man, that's what I don't know. That's just an aside, but like,
right.
yeah, to your point, yeah, there is infinite amount of things you can do when you just spend more time inside the TARDIS. We almost never see anything beyond the console room.
And the current console room is so wild and big, and like
Mhm.
it's a great set. Yeah, I think even just well, now that I think about it, the landmine episode was almost a bottle episode. That's one location. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like an outside location, but it's basically clearly shot on like the volume or something. Uh, the LCD room. But
Yeah.
that was good. Yeah, they could do it. They could do it. I kind of would like a little bit more of that, but it also ties into the problem of there needs to be more focus on the Doctor personality, maybe, and then people be more invested in the Doctor or the
Yeah.
Doctor as a character.
I was really skeptical about the Christmas special going into it, but then I wound
Right.
up loving it. It was so good.
Prime example. What's the best part, in my opinion, is him stuck at the hotel, stuck in one
Right.
location, him and
Yep.
one other person. That's it. It was great.
He's a handyman, just chumming around with a pal for a year.
Doing his like Mickey Mouse mop magic was a little much, but
It was, yeah, right.
still, uh,
Just had to remind us he was the Doctor.
right. He's
and,
whimsical,
and make us think, what can't the Sonic do?
right? Well, supposedly it can't like do stuff with wood, but
Well, they even broke that rule. They were like, well, it can. It's just way slower.
right. Oh man. Better through lines. That's RTD really disappointed me with the through lines on this. That whole like we don't need to be dissecting this last season of Doctor Who. My main point is these stories are ridiculous, and I'm tired of it unless they have some concrete information. Tired of rumors.
Right.
Doom and
But
gloom
also,
headlines.
like, yeah, why can't we get some transparency on this thing? You know, like,
right.
how much peril is this thing in? And I'm not saying that they should be like airing their dirty laundry, but like, just let us know how much. Well, I mean, I don't know. They don't want us to abandon ship if they're abandoning ship is the thing.
That's it. And that is kind of the tone of like, we're not abandoning Doctor Who. Disney's just going to see how the next season does. But the important thing is watch the next season. It's just like,
right.
Watch, don't leave.
It's funny to me. It's like, well, we gave it a shot. It's like that's the vibe I'm getting on this is like, okay, well, we were doing pretty well, and then we were doing less well, and then we had Chibnall, and we really weren't doing well, and but we're gonna give it to RTD. We're gonna give it to him. We're gonna bring Tennant back. We're just gonna really revitalize this whole thing. And if that doesn't work, we're done. Like that's it. This was it. This was that's all your plan was.
There's your big
you had
swing.
concepts of a plan.
Oh, well, and see, I think that's why these articles and YouTube videos and whatever, the headlines irritate me because, and like the videos, for example, I'm seeing they're from the Doctor Who channels that I subscribe to that are fans. So it's not like the angry white guy YouTube reviewer horde.
Right.
But it just feels like Chibnall era misogynistic, like we're just going to throw the viewership is in the dumps. It's terrible. Just horrible headline after horrible headline based on like nothing to sway general favor, the general opinion, or like put yeah, you know what I mean.
Because when everything's going bad, that's going to get clicks too. I mean,
that's
to
true.
be fair,
that's true.
It worked on us. Like we both read some of this nonsense today.
Right.
And I hadn't even seen it until today. And then I was like, what's this now? And I read at least 2 of them.
Yeah. I've been avoiding, I'd been seeing them, but it was like the Shooty ones where I was like, all right, I'm gonna click one of these and see what this is about. Yeah. That's this episode. We're just fretting over Doctor Who. We don't want it to leave, but we also want to complain about what's wrong about it.
Right.
It's what we do.
And the only thing that would be worse is if it wasn't there at all.
True. It's true. Right.
I don't know. I mean, like, I can't imagine complaining about big finishes. like, is that what this show becomes? Where we're like, well, okay, we're gonna listen to a big finish. Listen, it was pretty darn good.
If the show became complaining about, you know what I was about to say, is it possible to get negative viewers? But actually, we'd actually be niching down into something specific. We probably would get viewers.
Oh, we might actually get more viewers. Yeah,
right.
They'd be like, wait a minute, you listened to a thing I listened to?
Yeah. Who's this show for? Oh, it's for me, Big Finish listener.
Oh, the Big Finish cast thing. Well, I mean, they have their own podcast, but like, yeah, they don't drill down in on. Yeah,
I was excited about. Oh, man, Big Finish is one of those things. They're so pricey though. Like to like actually, they're so pricey. But it's one of those things. I want to watch them, or I want to listen to them. I mean, because that news you shared with me about Nine in Rows audio series. That sounds amazing,
right? Well, and eventually we're gonna get Yaz and
right
13. So
yeah, I would love some 13 written by
anybody else,
somebody else.
By a team by a team of writers that are proven to do well.
Because part of
with a property they understand.
because part of the we've talked about this a lot,
Yeah.
but part of the problem was like her doctor had like surface level traits, but didn't really
Mhm.
seem to have much of a personality you could really grab onto.
Yeah.
And it could be like 5?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
5.
5 or 6, either one of them.
Right,
And
where their
they
doctors
both do so well on
right.
audio. Like you
Right.
get more of what made them them. Like it just gives them more layers because they have more time and they have more to play with. And yeah.
Like like arguably the most defining traits of some doctors come from the post-show material.
Oh,
Yeah.
or in the case of 8, he had one show and a webisode.
Right, right. There's so many missed opportunities with the show.
Mhm.
Well, whatever.
When they're going to do more the Fugitive Doctor
Right.
episodes. I haven't listened to any of those. I mean, I know they've gone back and they've created like prequel War Doctor stuff, um, which would be interesting. I don't know that I need to dip into any of that, but I really enjoyed the stuff. I mean, like, I don't have a bad thing to say about any of the John Hurt stuff they did, including like their adaptation of The Invisible Man with John Hurt. Like that was great too. Like all of it was great. Like they just, I don't know, they had a moment, they seized it, and they made something cool happen with it.
They need a streaming service. They need an audio streaming service. It's
They
just
really
Big
do.
Finish. It's
Yeah.
just and maybe you know what? That would probably lose them money. Honestly, I don't know that that'd be a good deal
They're
because
very old school, you know. I mean, like that's
yeah,
the whole thing is they are audio drama. I think that a lot of their stuff though is out there. Like you can
right,
find oh, where did I see it? You can get it on you can get certain ones on Audible. You can get a fair amount of them on Spotify. I don't
right.
know if that's
I do remember
considered
that.
a audiobook or what, but like
Right,
you can find them there. Um it's weird where I'll find them,
right.
but they're out there.
Uh, yeah, because it's pricey to get into, especially if you
Mhm.
want to. Because even if you just
I
want
haven't
like
bought one
an
in
adventure,
quite a while, you know.
it's not one purchase. It's like
No.
several purchases
Yeah,
to
you're
get this
buying a
adventure.
box set to
Yeah.
get a story or maybe several stories.
I think I had even seen, let me double check this. Yeah, yeah. You could you can even buy Big Finish stuff on vinyl, and I cannot fathom
Oh yeah.
it'd be like 45
Was it the
bucks.
Chimes of Midnight was one where I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool." You know, because
Yeah,
that's like the creepy Christmas story.
that's just adding so much more cost onto it too.
Oh yeah.
Chime you know what, you make a good point though. It's like any vinyl, like I don't know. Some people do just collect all their stuff on it, but like it's a collection piece and it would
Yeah.
definitely have to be a story like that. Something where it's like, no,
It'd
I
be
want
something
this.
that I'd sit down on
Yeah,
Christmas Eve and I'd listen to
right.
that on vinyl kind of thing, like oh, super old school.
That's a thing I want to revisit and I want to have in a collection. But
Right.
the idea of trying to like collect all of it,
Oh
forget
no.
that.
Yeah.
Um I don't know what Melanie's doing, but if she's hearing us from the other room, she's probably like, of course, this is where it goes.
Of course, this is what happened. Yeah. He was going to cancel the stream, and now they've talked for,
How
I don't
long?
know, 30 minutes. We've already talked for a half an hour. We were just going to have a quick conversation, and it turned into a Doctor Who episode.
The 30-minute Doctor
We can
Who
do it.
talk, that's a quick conversation as far as we
That
go.
really is. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I haven't really been watching, or I've been watching stuff, but it's been not, random anime and
Right.
just not really Grawlix stuff. So,
Yeah. Like I said, I watched Letterkenny. They have a spinoff. Like that's how long Letterkenny's been around. They have a spinoff called Shoresy, and it's all about the hockey players. And it's better than Letterkenny. Like it's much better television, but it's got a lot of that weird Letterkenny-ism to it. But it's more of a sports show, so I don't know. there's something more cohesive about it. And that was really good. It was decent, and they're about to release their 4th season here in about a week, I want to say. So really, that's all that I've been watching is that kind of thing. And we just before we started the stream, Holly and I were watching MASH because that's kind of our thing. We watch MASH with supper, and it was the episode. I don't know how much MASH you watched.
A lot. I didn't make a point to, but it was always on
Yeah.
all the
So you
time.
remember the episode where Henry Blake goes home? Henry Blake was the first colonel, the one with the fish hat, kind
Is
of a
it?
buffoon, and
Was it the helicopter one?
yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
like
like that one's so iconic because
right.
that was one where they're like, they didn't tell the cast, you know.
Okay.
Oh, spoilers for a show that's like ridiculously old.
Right.
Henry Blake gets his he gets his orders that he gets to go home, and they do this whole thing of sending him off in style and whatnot. And then the very last scene of the episode is Corporal O'Reilly Radar coming in and telling them that his plane went down over the Sea of Japan and there were no survivors. And they didn't tell the cast that was happening, so a lot of their reactions are authentic.
Right.
Like they
Okay.
didn't have any clue that that's what they were going to do to that character. You think you're giving this character this happy send off, and then you kill him. You literally kill your darling.
Why they got to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that
It was
always
it's such a good gut punch, but it was just like it was like I don't know.
manipulative,
That's the
man.
thing that people like to. I went on the middle-aged
Movie review?
movie reviews, yeah, and I talked about how I watch a lot of MASH and whatnot, and they were like, what do you think of that? Or they really went into drama, and it's like, dude, they were drama from the very beginning. Like Hawkeye is kind of a anti-war, protest kind of guy from day one, so it was always kind of steeped in this drama and this like moody. There's this
Right.
moody undertone to everything. It's like the comedy and the tragedy. That's the kind of the whole point since the movie, since the initial, the initial property. And so like that kind of episode is kind of the perfect example of that, where it's
Right.
like, man, yeah, that's what they do. They give you all these moments of light, and then they remind you, oh yeah, we're in the middle of the Korean War.
Right. And that's the point. But like, and
But
also,
yeah. Yeah.
also though that the darker moments of the show are the memorable ones.
Mhm.
And the ones where Alan Alda was able to get control behind the camera. Those were always like the really heavy ones.
Well, there's one where his dad is in it, and I didn't even realize there was one with his dad until like it was over, and it was like, oh, he played that scene against his dad. And I was like, whoa,
right.
oof.
But yeah. I don't know if I liked MASH. It was always on. The song, the music would come on at a certain time of night, especially like before, like if I didn't have cable, and it's like, on the one hand, it's like, oh, again, and I was like, MASH, boring. But then I'd watch it.
But it's compelling. Yeah.
I'd watch it.
You know what they did when I was in like grade school or middle school or whatever, it was like they did something very clever with that show where it was the first adult show after the block of cartoons after school.
Oh, interesting.
It'd be like cartoons, and then they'd ease into the adult stuff with MASH, with what else was kind of in that purview? I want to say Taxi, but that was more in the morning.
Taxi. I remember Taxi in the evening too. Taxi for sure.
So, like a couple of those shows where it's like it's old, but it's super compelling old shows. And it was like, these guys are kind of funny, and I don't know why.
Do you remember Dear John? It had what's his name
Dear
from Taxi?
John. Vaguely.
remember,
Judd Hirsch, that guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that show. I don't even know that ran very long, but I remember that. That
Hmm.
feels like it goes in that time frame for me.
Right.
Old shows that ran their prime before we were watching them, but they ran in syndication forever.
Right.
It's probably on somewhere right now. But
I don't know how or why, but it became like this show that was like kind of important to me because I remember it from that situation where it was
sure.
like, I could just catch myself watching it, and then it was like, I kind of like the show, and then it was like, I kind of want to collect the show, and so I have I
really?
have the entire run, and I have like 2 copies of the final episode.
Does that show have? I was about to say, does that show have a laugh track?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was about
especially
to
in the
say, and
early
it's one
days.
of the old
Yeah.
shows that doesn't have a laugh track. But then I was thinking, I
But
was
they
like, wait,
use
no,
it.
it did have a
Yeah,
laugh
it
track.
does have a laugh track.
I
Yeah.
loathe laugh tracks.
But they use it sparingly, I guess. Like they only use it in the comedic elements, but
Sure. Who's the show for? Well, clearly it's for middle-aged men at this point.
yeah, who's it for? Doctor Who, MASH, Letterkenny,
It's for Gen
some
Xers and
anime.
elder millennials
That's
who
who
grew
it's
up with
for.
this in
Yeah,
syndication.
that's right. If you've got a Skeletor behind you,
yeah, it's for you.
and
That's
a
who
4th
this show's
Doctor
for.
comic book under that.
Oh man. I was just checking out, make sure. See, did we have any? No comments. Okay, good. I didn't have my comment window open normally, so I just checked to make sure there's no comments going on. What do I watch for nostalgia stuff? I mean, there is stuff, but I can't think of. It's so interesting because I think my nostalgia watch right now, and it would be appropriate.
I was gonna say horror movies, right?
Yeah, it's definitely horror movies. But I was thinking of TV shows. It's kind of It's Always Sunny, which has been going long enough to be nostalgic, except I'd never watched a single episode until like last year. So
yeah.
But it's got that vibe. There are certain episodes of that show I might have on demand in a free capacity that I watch over and over. The Gang Beats Boggs. Like there's certain episodes where I'm like, yeah, that's classic TV. It just feels like classic TV.
Sure.
But like we were talking, the problem is with like older sitcoms is I can't stand a laugh track. They're terrible, and it takes me out of it. So I struggle with like actually older sitcoms.
I could see Buffy and Angel being a nostalgia watch
there you
for
go.
you.
There you go. Yep. And even like, although I didn't grow up watching it necessarily, Doctor Who. Do an occasional revisit of some random Doctor Who.
Oh, sure. Like old, even classic era stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been craving a rewatch of like Inferno.
Sure. Okay.
Every once in a while, I just feel like I want to watch Inferno. If I could get a copy of that, if I could track down the redone War Games, like I think I would enjoy that. Like
right.
An hour and a half. Yeah, because I haven't gone back because it's a 10-parter.
I was really hoping they'd put that up on their YouTube, but I'm assuming they're gonna like hold on to that so they can sell physical copies.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on BBC iPlayer, but here in the States, you kind of got to go through a whole rigmarole to watch that. And I had watched part of it. I had started it one day, but I didn't want to get stuck on the computer that long. But yeah, I don't hate the idea of cutting down the older 10-parters into something a little bit more digestible, especially when so many of the like really old ones were just spinning their wheels.
Half the time the Doctor was on vacation in some of those 10-parters. It's like a whole episode of the companions running around not knowing what they're doing because what William Hartnell's out on holiday.
Right. That Doctor Who classic TV channel, like the official YouTube channel, I mean.
Oh yeah.
That was it you that pointed that out, or maybe I seen an
Yeah, yeah.
article?
I found the link, or I
Right.
found the story, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
There's a ton. There's a ton. A lot of them are the full stories, so you're not
Mhm.
necessarily getting like the trimmed down ones. But they even
Right.
had some of the animated stuff on there. Yeah, I need to remember to check that out more. But there's a ton on there.
Oh yeah, we even kind of chatted about like what is and isn't great for animation, and it was like,
Right.
yeah, uh, I have some of the early ones. Like I did the 10th Planet, but the 10th Planet isn't completely reanimated. It's just that last episode,
Sure.
which is frustrating to me because like some of those scenes do exist. Like the regeneration scene does exist.
Right.
Um, so why wouldn't you use it? Instead, they animated it, and it's like, I don't want that animated. I know I've seen it. I've seen that regeneration clip.
Right. Just go ahead and switch back to the live action. It's not going to take me out any more than watching it animated in the first place.
Yeah. And the animation for that one was really good, but you really only had like one episode out of a several
Right.
parter that was animated. And Cybermen play pretty well as animated.
True. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
But then is it The Power of the Daleks? I think that's one of the first second Doctor episodes that they animate. And oh, it's so slow. It's so slow. Animation is meant to go fast.
Right.
Animation is meant to be, I mean, because you're paying for cells, you know, like at
Yeah.
least initially. That's why animation was always like action going, boom, 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 or recycling cells, one or the other.
I get people want like a somewhat faithful recreation, but I feel like if you're going to pay the money for animation, beef up shorter productions, meaning do the like condensed edits, do the fan edit type, condense
Yeah.
it down a little
I
bit, and then animate
don't
that.
need the entirety of the Dalek sliding across the floor.
Right, right, right. Yeah, but they could just take their PNG and keyframe it from one side to the other. No,
Yeah.
that's really diminishing what they do. But some of the that's what scares me away from the animation. Some of the animation looks so like it's not their fault. The BBC's never, they don't want to pay out much for it, but
It's just the way that acting was back then too. Like
Right.
acting was more chewing the scenery. It was more like you were in the room with them, and being in the room with them maybe meant we're just walking across the room. And it's like, man, just cut that part. You know, you can save an awful lot, but you see a lot of the Doctor just wandering around the console room, kind of not even talking to anyone. You see that with all of these doctors all the way up to 5. 5 did that a lot. Just tooling around in the console room, didn't
Right.
even really talk to anybody for a couple of minutes, and then somebody walks into the room and now we'll have a conversation.
Right.
You know, like they just take their time. And that doesn't play well with animation.
No, unless, yeah. If you're going to do slow burn animation, it's got to be atmospheric. You got to be like building towards something other than just like, yeah, no, they just had like 6 episodes they had to fill, and the story really could be told in 2, maybe 3.
Right. You're like
This-
Studio Ghibli style, where
Right.
it's like, oh, we're seeing these sweeping, beautiful landscapes.
Really getting into
that
it.
That can take time. That's fine. But that's not what they're doing here. They're just like,
no, they're just
it's just staring at a room.
right. I will say some of the older stories are difficult to get through, and some of like the really long drawn out ones, and some of their recreations make it even worse. Not the animated ones, but like the unofficial recreations,
Oh yeah.
the telesnaps and stuff, which I'm glad I were around. Like impressed
Sure.
that people. It's so weird to me that like the official video's lost, but people had made sound recordings of their TVs when they'd watch it back in the day, and that's how they could recreate these.
Yeah.
But
It's such a bummer that like Marco Polo still hasn't been found, because
it's supposed to have
that
great.
one
Yeah.
seems to be a really good story. I read the Target novelization of it, and I was like, this is a
Right.
great story. I would like to watch this one.
I feel like when I was binging through the entirety of the classic series,
Mhm.
a big chunk of that was before I stopped partaking in recreational things that made maybe watching something that's a little slower a little more tolerable.
Hello, sure, yeah.
Like,
Like, oh man, he's really mad right now.
right. This episode's kind of boring. Hold on, let me take care of that. Come back. There we go. All right. What's going on? What's that little robot? Yeah.
Keys of Marinus, man. Why they got so many keys? How come they can't get in? They got so many keys they can't even get in, man. Sense rights. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
It's so interesting. I feel like especially since I started working from home and I'm home all the time, online, not terminally online, but kind of. I'm online a lot. I feel like
Sure.
my attention span has taken a hit, except when I'm watching TV. Like I can still go watch like a slow burn thing, or just like sit there and watch 6 episodes of some anime, or a couple hours of like very slow burn Nordic noir moody detective stuff.
Sure.
But then like get on the computer and it's like too slow, you know.
Sure, yeah.
I also don't do you do the cell phone and the TV? I can't do
at the same time.
The second screen thing. I don't do it.
Oh no, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time that I ever use the phone is like during like a sporting event kind of thing. Like
Sure, that makes sense.
Check Twitter and be like, oh, what are people saying about what's happening right now? Like that's the only time.
If I'm watching on YouTube's if I'm watching on YouTube, like on Chromecast, they kind of pump the ads in. Ad comes on, I'm picking up my phone, checking things out. Sure. But yeah, if I'm watching a thing, I can't be scrolling on the phone because then I'm not watching the thing.
So like the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing, like that would be a thing where I'd be like, what are they saying on because it was down half the time. So it's like, okay, I'm getting on Twitter. Right. What's everybody saying?
Dude, I did a radio show while I watched the fights leading up to that one. So like you could sports, I get it. I mean, boxing is, of course, you kind of want to keep an eye on it, but like there's still enough downtime. And generally it's not like a mile
football,
a minute.
I need something else to watch. And football's not even as boring as some sports. You know, like football, at least there's something going on every time. But yeah,
it's a lot of downtime. But if it's a show or something, or even old Doctor Who, I'm watching it. I remember, this is a total aside. Who is this show for? I don't know. But
this show is just for us. Like nobody's watching, and we're just talking about what we like. So
yeah. When I was doing GCU with Jasper, I remember having to harangue Jasper constantly because we'd be reviewing a movie and he'd let some little thing slip, and I'd be like, you were playing on your cell phone the whole time you were watching this, huh? The whole time you were watching this movie. And he'd be like, well, not the whole time. I'm like, you did, dude, how are you going to review a movie that you didn't even pay attention to? I don't remember what it was, but all the time he'd let things like that slip. And I'm just like, if you're going to review it, at least like watch it. Yeah. But that's, I guess.
Look up all the trivia and stuff after the fact.
Yeah. I think why that whole thing is fresh in my mind recently is there was an article not long ago about how like Netflix executives were pressuring writers to like tell. It's the opposite of what it should be. It's the Stan Lee style. Don't show. Like,
no.
Because they're like, first off, make it simpler and not show, don't tell. It's tell, don't show. It's tell, have the characters say what they're doing or what they're thinking as they're doing it.
That would be all so the people, wooden and weird.
It's for all the people that are on their phones, not really paying attention, so they can still like follow. I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, no, I don't want that kind of. I don't want that to be where we're going here.
That's not the Stan Lee method of things. The Stan Lee thing is different. It was like a little bit him justifying his story credit or something. I don't know.
Sure, yeah. Because Jack Kirby was nailing it. Like, he was showing you what was happening. Why did he also have to say it out loud?
Right. Yeah. Though particularly that like time period of Marvel comics were very like they're doing a thing and the thing they're doing. Uh, that's what Netflix wants because so many people, it's background for so many people, and I don't know. I mean, if you're watching like Cake Boss or whatever those shows are, sure, but like
Sure.
generally,
But also why?
I try to picture like
Yeah.
I don't know, any like the prestige type series doing that. It'd be asinine. Like part of why I think a lot of whatever, they don't want to spend a bunch of money on shows anyway, but think of if I'm going to pay attention now, the next season of Stranger Things, if they're doing that, oh,
No.
I'm gonna
I was just gonna
cancel
say
them again.
Stranger Things. Like, maybe I probably need to go back and rewatch season 4. It's been so long. When even is season 5 coming out? Like, is there even a release date yet?
There's at least a window. I think there might be a date. Finally,
They're starting to release like toys and stuff, aren't they? Or maybe they just never stopped releasing toys.
They probably never stopped. I don't think there's a concrete date.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and read a whole article, but I don't think there's a concrete date yet.
What was it? Is there one other thing? Oh, you know what? I have watched. It was Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai's over.
Oh, right.
And it ended pretty well. Like, I haven't seen a lot of people being like, "Man, that sucked." It was all right, like it's gone it jumped the shark so long ago that like you just know there's going to be a bunch of weird shark jumpy moments at any given point. So, like, there were times where Holly's like suspension of disbelief, you know. And that was totally fair. But like, I don't know, the way that they brought it back full circle was really cool. And you could tell, like, they always said, we know how it ends, we just don't know how we're getting there yet. Like, we just don't know how, like, how long we'll get to go, how much of the story we'll get to tell before we hit that point.
Right.
And so you could see it was like, oh yeah, they've known how they may have tweaked it a few times or whatever, but they knew how this was going to end because it's so informed by the very beginning of the show.
Okay, I like that. That's good, it's good that they were able to get back around to that instead of just like, what, canceled, it's over, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad because the Netflix of it all is like very like, oh, are they gonna get to finish this thing? Please let them finish this.
They'll cancel a show in the middle of filming a season.
Right.
Never
Now, any spin-offs that may come from this, yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't believe it for a second. Like, supposedly, the new Karate Kid movie does exist in the same universe, but it's like, several years beyond Cobra Kai.
Okay. Interesting.
So I like, it won't reference Cobra Kai really at all, from what I understand. But they're also like floating. I mean, I don't know how much of this is real and how much of it is just rumor, but like, one of the things that they've talked about for spin-offs is following Hawk and Dimitri, the binary bros, the binary brothers or whatever, the nerdy ones, off to Caltech and like following them. I was like, is that really a show?
Right.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, Netflix sucks. This weird trend.
Yeah.
This weird trend of like taking so long between seasons too. And I get it. They put a lot of money into these productions, but and that's better than like overworking all of the crew and the cast, but
Right.
it does suck. Like you were saying, Stranger Things, like have to rewatch the last season at least. I
And
kind of
how long ago did they film it? They had to have filmed it quite a while ago because otherwise these kids are not going to look like kids at all. Like Millie Bobby Brown is like in her 20s now. So
right. Yeah, no, those kids aged fast. If you just watch the show sequentially,
yeah.
uh,
Oh
I
yeah, I
thought
bet.
I thought at least that last season, what's his name that plays the younger Briar brother? Uh,
Oh,
uh,
Will or whatever.
yeah, I
He
thought
was
like
like, oh my god, he was so tall.
he's so
Like
tall,
he had such a growth spurt, and he like looked like older than his older brother almost.
right? And they still give him that like goofy bowl cut,
That
and I'm like,
awful
no, he
bowl
looks
cut and
too
stripy
goofy, man.
shirt. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
what is he doing? An Bert and Ernie cosplay here? No.
Right. And you could try to explain it like, well, he's emotionally stunted because he was in the upside. It's like, he looks goofy. Come on,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on. And I get, 2020 was a big part of that. Like, give shows a pass, but like, it's just kind of continued, and it was a
Yeah.
trend before that anyway.
Like at least make him look more like his brother, like how his
Right,
brother had kind of the army surplus look to him and whatnot, like kind of a dumpy loner
right,
kind of
right,
vibe. Not the just like completely clueless, inept kid. The kid survived in an alien world.
right. He should be
I
cool.
think he's gonna have more he's gonna have more attention to things than that. Like, I'm just gonna wear the same stripy shirt I've worn since I was 12 or
Right.
10 or whatever.
You can still make him a nerdy and awkward, but like he less of a doofus. Yeah, he survived in an alien upside down world. Uh, Everybody loved Eddie, and he just played guitar in there once. So like, come on.
Like 11 grew up in a friggin' psychiatric asylum prison thing, and she's got more social awareness than Will does. Tell me how that works.
I wonder if they would have tried to spin off like a like a teen X-Men type group show if that one episode hadn't been so poorly received where she goes off to the city and
Oh
has her
yeah,
little adventure with her sister and whatnot. Uh,
right.
they have some other
That
show that is
was
not a
that supposed to be like a sideways pilot
I don't know, but that's how
thing?
what it felt like.
It
Maybe
sure
that's part
did.
of the reason people pushed back against it. They're like, no. Don't do this. We
Yeah.
major things.
Well, that was like season 2, wasn't it? Like, it's like,
Yeah, I
oh,
think
we've
so.
only had 2 seasons and you're already pushing for a sideshow. Come on.
Uh,
If it's not Hopper in Russia, I don't want it.
right.
If it isn't Hopper breaking out of a Russian prison, then I don't care. That's the sideshow I want.
See, the new Thunderbolts movie is just like an alternate timeline where he never broke out. He got trained into a
He
soldier.
just got turned into was it Red Guardian or whatever.
Right.
It's like,
I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about tonight, so I played that trailer. I know we talked about the trailer last week, but I couldn't remember if Melanie had seen it. She didn't seem to remember, so
oh yeah.
it's kind of fresh in my mind too. What are we doing? Are we still streaming?
We're still streaming. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we made it an hour. We just flipped over the hour mark.
Just a short conversation.
Just a short conversation for your Thirsty Thursday.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Thirsty Thursdays, they can get bent, but also like drink a water.
Oh yeah, hydrate, please. Especially in this cold. That's how I started the stream.
Oh,
Was
man.
talking about how cold it is. Like, get some hydration in you.
It's crazy cold.
Yeah.
But you know what? Oh, sorry. You look like you had a thought.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I actually have work tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those schools that had a cold day today. Oh, I had a 2-hour late start the day before, and then it's a cold day was today, and now 2-hour late start tomorrow. But
we don't need to
Which is
keep you
both.
2 additional hours.
no.
I was
It's
gonna
been
say
exhausting. Oddly, it's exhausting even just to be home when it's cold like this. Plus, I got a
sure,
dog. I mentioned that last week, but like this dog thing is
it's weird you
dogs are
out.
exhausting. Yeah.
I see you posted pictures on Blue Sky And I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
oh, cute dog. But also, like, especially since the first picture was that picture you pointed out to me, and you're like, but just after that picture, he bolted over and jumped over the fence. I'm just like,
You did.
oh, it's so cute. But I bet it's also real frustrating, that dog.
Man, so like right, I mean, like this is compelling. If well, we don't have audio only.
Right.
So right over here is where I usually have like a tension rod with a curtain, which will
Uh-huh.
soak up some of that, like it will contain the sound and whatnot in
Sure.
here. And also block me off from whatever's happening in the living room and whatnot. Uh he didn't even like it wasn't his fault or anything, but like he just like tried to grab his toy and he just gets caught up in the curtain and whatnot. And it was fine. And then it was nothing. Like he was just like pushing through, just like the way you would normally get through a curtain, and the whole thing comes down. It was broken on both ends. Like the tension rod was just broken on
Oh,
both ends. So now I don't even have a curtain over there, but I have these milk crates stacked. I've built a small wall
you're
just
built a little fort. You're
just
barricading yourself in so that he doesn't get it.
it's the most ridiculous thing now. It's like this is what I'm resorting to now. And I got I needed a new mouse, but I normally like I don't care. It can be a wired mouse. That's fine. I
Right.
kind of prefer wired because
Me too.
then you don't have to worry about any kind of latency at all, right? But but with this dog, I'm like one less wire for him to chew on.
That's
I'm
a good
going
call.
wireless. We're gonna try it. So I've got a new mouse to try because he keeps getting up under. Like when he does get in here, he gets in under there, and then he like gets caught on the keyboard wire, and then or the mouse wire, and then I'm like, get out of there. No, your head's stuck in the mouse wire. How did you do that? Don't quit it. I missed having a dog so much.
keeps you busy, huh?
It sure does. It sure does. I sure don't have time to talk about politics. That's for sure.
I was about to say, you know what? We didn't get at all into it this week.
Nope.
Last week we went real kind of. Was
Yeah.
that last week or maybe that was the week before? I don't know. The last 2
I think it
weeks
was
we
last
went.
week, and then oddly, Melanie's like she just got cut. I feel like Google just was like, no,
Nope.
or whatever your browser was. It's like, no, we hear
Uh,
you.
everything's fine. Nothing's
Everything's fine.
wrong.
Nope.
God save the king.
Oh God.
All right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
So, yeah. You got anything you want to mention before we bounce out of this?
Oh, I want to say that there was something, but I can't remember what it was. If there was,
Right.
yeah, I'll remember it after the stream, but I won't remember it now.
All good. I'm doing the same thing as always. I'll be streaming tomorrow night on Helix Rock Radio. It's rockradio.live is the URL. Come listen to some extreme metal, some death metal, some black metal, some blackened death metal, some technical avant-garde black metal, some thrash, some speed, sludge,
Ooh.
doom, maybe some deathcore. Probably not a lot of metalcore. These are all real things, and I know about them now.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. Word.
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 Well, all right.
All right.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
Grogspodcast.com, GRAWLX